It's Monday, March 16, and time for your Barbados City Morning News Update. Every single traveler coming through this island's ports of entry are now being screened for the COVID-19 coronavirus. Word of this from Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, who said that the stepped-up surveillance was as a result of more countries recording positive cases of the dreaded virus. The minister made the revelation on CBC News last night.
We continue with our surveillance protocols, and that will continue for some time to come. And we are actually going to enhance the level of surveillance, because when we first started, there were only a few countries that were really impacted by COVID-19. But as the number of countries have expanded as a result of the spread of the virus, we are going to respond in kind. And so with effect from today, basically, we are now 24 hours screening every single person who comes through the Adams International Airport and the Bridgetown Port.
The minister also explained why government was not closing its borders given the threat of the virus.
That's a decision that we have taken as a government, and it was a recommendation from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And this is based on the fact that the World Health Organization clearly states that restricting travel and trade even during the pandemic, and especially during the pandemic, is really not the thing to do. It does not serve the purpose that people think it does in terms of reducing or stopping the importation of the virus, and it actually has a negative impact on the countries that are affected, and it also impacts on our ability to be able to access technical assistance. For example, if we had imposed the travel ban, we would not have been able to receive the test kits that we have received, and we would not have been in a position to receive the ventilators that are so very, very important for the isolation units that we have established. So that is the reason why we have not done so.
Minister Bostic again assured residents that the country has not recorded any confirmed cases of the virus.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, we take this thing very seriously, and we will engage with the country if and when we have a case in Barbados. We will continue to speak to this country and to keep people informed. And it is because we are all in this together. And there's no way that we could have persons, I heard about 67 persons at Harrison's Point, when the facility is not even ready yet. But I guarantee Barbadians that whenever and if ever we have COVID confirmed cases in Barbados, that the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and certainly the Minister of Health and Wellness, will inform the country.
Meantime, the Democratic Labour Party is calling on government to put people before economics and safeguard all workers at the island's ports of entry. DLP President DLP'S said, while she understands and appreciates the desire to keep the country open for business as long as possible, the party was of the view that the time had passed when frontline workers and all other staff who may have to interact with visitors are afforded the utmost personal protection and consideration. DLP'S said the DLP has been made aware of cases in neighboring islands where affected individuals were in transit through Barbados, and charged that none of the local staff working for government agencies wore protective gear, and neither were they tested or isolated. She said this was not acceptable, as the welfare of Barbadians must be paramount. Now, with the elderly being one of the most vulnerable COVID-19 groups, the Barbados Association of Retired Persons says it is extremely concerned for its members and will be educating them through a series of programs.
But as concerned as we are, it's most important that we share information with our members to avoid panic, because you can never have too much information. And I go on here and state that we had planned to host 3 seminars, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, for accommodating 60 persons per day at our BARP's headquarters. But because of the thirst for knowledge by our members, the overwhelming support, we've had to change the format. The information will still be shared. However, we will go via the route of the call-in program So rather than the 27,000 members of BAR, we'll reach every senior in Barbados, because every senior, although they're not members of BAR, they are indeed our concern, because we are the most vulnerable where COVID-19 is concerned. We are extremely vulnerable.
In other news, the Minister of Small Business, Entrepreneurship and Commerce, Dwight Sutherland, says efforts are being made to ensure sustainable consumption becomes a priority for businesses and policymakers. He gave the assurance as he addressed a church service at Love and Light Ministries yesterday to commemorate World Consumer Rights Day under the theme Sustainable Consumer.
At the heart of such efforts would be the enhancement of consumer awareness based on sustainable choices and the call for the use and reuse and recycling of products to create a circular economy. Fellow Barbadians, congregation, let us on this World Consumer Rights Day embrace the concept of being a sustainable consumer to promote a sustainable economy. Let us in common effort ensure that we work together to build a resilient Barbados that places sustainable production and consumption as the cornerstone of our development efforts.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Root Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
In news from the region, Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis assures residents his government will be vigorous in its national response against COVID-19. It came in a national address last night after the country recorded its first case in a 61-year-old woman who is a resident of New Providence and does not have the relevant travel history.
Our response must be across the board and includes all of us working together to fight COVID-19. The behavior and response of individual citizens, families, churches, schools, and others is as essential as the response by the government. We are in this fight together. I have instructed every government ministry and agency to be in full preparedness mode. This is our greatest national priority.
The Prime Minister revealed that travel restrictions will be imposed on several overseas territories as of Thursday, April 19, while returning nationals from affected countries will be quarantined and schools will be closed with immediate effect.
Schools will be closed immediately until April 14th. Out of an abundance of caution, all national sporting events will be postponed until further notice. There is an indefinite suspension of all permits for use of public open spaces. Fellow Bahamians and residents, we are still recovering from the impact of Hurricane Dorian. This coronavirus crisis represents yet another risk to our economy and the country's finances and fiscal sustainability plans.
And finally, a health threat unlike any other in our lifetime. That's how United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has described the fast-spreading COVID-19 coronavirus. He says health systems, economies, and day-to-day lives are being severely tested as the virus spreads and danger grows.
This is a time for prudence, not panic, science, not stigma, facts, not fear. Even though the situation has been classified as a pandemic, it is one we can control. We can slow down transmissions, prevent infections, and save lives. But that will take unprecedented personal, national, and international action. We must declare war on this virus. And that means countries have a responsibility to gear up, step up, and scale up. By implementing effective containment strategies, by activating and enhancing emergency response systems, by dramatically increasing testing capacity and care for patients, by readying hospitals, ensuring they have the space, supplies, and needed personnel, and by developing life-saving medical interventions. And all of us have a responsibility too, to follow medical advice.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.